Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to take a look at how you can quickly install Apache Spark on Ubuntu. So there are very many ways that you can install Apache Spark, but specifically today we're going to take a look at how you can install it in standalone mode, so it's not installed within a cluster, and we are not going to be using Apache Spark over Hadoop. So typically when you're beginning to develop Apache Spark, or if you did not require the heavy lifting, the HDFS and the whole Hadoop ecosystem, you can look at installing Apache Spark in standalone mode. So the various steps involved in installation is as follows. So step one is to install Java. Once you have installed Java, basically the JVM, we'll then install Scala. Spark itself has been built on top of Scala and hence the prerequisite. And then finally we'll install Git. In order for us to build Spark, the process of building relies on Git, and hence that's a prerequisite. And then finally we'll use the Scala build tool to actually build the Spark solution. So as you can see, it's fairly straightforward, the sequence of steps. The whole process should take you about an hour's time. Now give or take the time it takes to download the required software. The bulk of the time itself will be taken up in the actual build process. So overall, it's a fairly straightforward an approach to install in standalone mode. So first step is to install Java. Chances are you have done this a million times, but if you haven't, these are some of the steps that we will need to run. So let me skip some of these. And yep, so here I have a terminal session, and let's actually run these commands. So I'm running, adding the repository, and then we'll do a quick update. Paste. And then finally, after the update, we'll actually install Java itself from Oracle. Now, this can take a while, again, depending on your network connectivity. I may pause the video from time to time if the download process is going to take a while. Alright, so now that we have done with the update, let's actually install Java. Yes. Alright, it looks like Java has been installed on the machine, but always a good idea to verify if Java is fully installed. So you can run Java version, and sure enough, everything's good. So it's installed the required Java version. The next step, as you may recall, after we have installed Java, is then to install Scala. So again, Spark has been built on top of Scala, and hence we need to install Scala again. And Scala has a dependency on having a JVM. So first we'll need to download Scala, add the required files to the Scala home and add it to the path. Of course, the folder, the examples that I'm using are specific to the Scala version that I've downloaded. Of course, when you download a different version, you'll need to have the commands reflected with the current version of the Scala file name. So I've already installed Scala, or rather downloaded Scala, sorry, in advance. So in my home directory, I've actually downloaded Scala in advance. So I've downloaded 2.11.7. However, you can download the latest version of Scala from scala-lang.org. So go to Scala, the website, and if you click on download, you should be able to download the current or the latest version of Scala. So once that's downloaded, I'm gonna create that or untar that into a common folder location. So again, this is just an example. You could uncompress and untar that into the folder of your choice. So it's quite helpful to have it in one common location, particularly if you're working with multiple versions of Scala. So back to the terminal window here, and let me create that folder. And now finally, let's untar that. And now that it's untarred, similar to setting up the Java home, we need to set up the Scala home, and we can do that by editing the bashrc file. You can use the editor of your choice. I'm gonna use Nano editor. You could of course have used VI or any one of your favorite editors. So all the way at the bottom here, we should paste in these two commands here. That is to export Scala home. So again, you'll need to map that to the folder corresponding to the Scala version that you have downloaded, and also add that to the path. All right. And then finally, to have the changes come in effect, we'll run this command here so that updates all the more recent changes. So now, having done these steps, it's a good idea again to check if Scala has been installed. So you can check for Scala at the command prompt. So Scala version. If everything's installed correctly, and if you've set the Scala home and the bin path correctly, you should find that it's displayed the version of Scala that you've installed. Alright, so that's the second step. So we have installed Java, we have installed Scala. Now the next step is to install Git. So again, Git is required for us to build Spark. So it's a very simple step here. So let's install Git. Alright, so that's it for Git. So we have Git installed, and finally the last stage is to actually build Spark. So to build Spark, we need to download the latest version of Spark, and then finally we'll run the SBT tool. That's a Scala build tool, very similar to Maven, but specifically for Scala. So the way you can there are multiple ways you can download Spark, but easiest is to go to the Apache Spark website, so spark.apache.org, and click on downloads. Here you can select from the various versions. Again, I've installed the latest version of Spark, sorry, at this point in time. And we are going to be downloading the source code, so we're going to build from the source code, again, given that this is in standalone mode. But of course, if you had a Hadoop environment already, you can opt for one or more of these Hadoop based pre-built Spark packages. And then finally click on Spark here. So again, I've installed Spark, or downloaded, sorry, Spark in advance. So you can see that I've downloaded version 1.4.1 here, and let's untar that. Spark. All right. So it's created the folder right here, and so let's go into the folder. And the command you need to run is this. So within the SBT folder, I'm going to run that. Now this can take a while. I expect that it'll take at least 30 minutes to maybe about 45-50 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video and resume once the build process has been completed.
Alright, so it looks like Spark's fully built. It took about 40 odd minutes for the entire build process to have completed, and you'll notice that at the end you'll find a message with success and a quick status of the build process. So that was the last step in the entire installation process. So we have completed all of the above. So finally, it's a good opportunity to see if everything's in place, and we'll do a quick test. So in the current Spark folder itself, you'll find the resources that you need is in the bin folder. So we can run bin spark shell. So it uses the same REPL Scala based REPL shell. Of course, there's the Python shell as well. All right, you can when you install Spark, the default is to display the information in verbose mode. You can change the settings so that it doesn't display all the information and all the messages and just the key errors and warnings. But however, looking at this trace is quite helpful. It's already set some variables for the Spark context and even for the SQL context. And also, you'll notice that it's started the Spark UI at this particular address and 4040 port. So first couple of tests to just see if Spark's all working. Let's try a quick example. So you may notice that in the Spark folder, there's a file readme. So let's try and read that within Spark. So that's, well, say file is equal to sc. That's the Spark context, and text file. Text file, and that's readme.md. Yep, so it's read that into the RDD, and now we can, as you may already be aware of how Spark works, it does lazy loading, so nothing's really happened till we actually run an action. So this was a basic load, a basic transformation process, or just loading of the data into an RDD process, and through lazy loading, the action itself doesn't take place till we run a specific action command. So f dot say collect, and now it actually triggers the execution of loading the RDD, and you can see this is the actual content within the file. So it looks like Spark is working fine. So the Spark web UI can be accessed from the IP address and the port that was mentioned on the shell, and you can see this is what the status of the job is. Quite handy to take a look at the console and get a quick idea as to what's happening under the hood. You can actually see that, of course, in this particular case, it was a very simple DAG that was formed. You can actually see a quick visualization. So this is a single stage process where it loaded the content from the file and displayed that on the terminal there. But again, quite handy to look at the web UI to get a sense of internally what's happening. And of course, if you did set it up for a distributed Spark environment, a cluster of servers, it's quite helpful to take a look at this information to understand the internals of Spark and how it's actually processing the data, etc. So overall, this has been a quick tutorial to give you an idea in terms of what the setup process is to install Spark and do a quick test to see if Spark's working correctly. Alright, look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks everyone for your time.